For more free African history resources, please go directly to our website or click the links below.
The History of Islam in Africa, Part 3. And so, following on from the conquest of southern Europe by the African and Arab Muslims, Islam spread further into northern and western Africa via merchants, traders and scholars, and it was largely a peaceful adoption. It was adopted by African elites and then spread down into the wider population. The Idrisid Dynasty. The Idrisid Dynasty was established in North Africa in 788 AD and was founded by Idris bin Abdallah, who was also known as Idris the Elder. The Idrisid Dynasty was located in the region of modern-day Morocco. Idris bin Abdallah became the spiritual leader amongst the African Berber tribe of Araba, teaching and propagating Islam. The Araba tribe by this time were all following the religion of Islam. The wife of Idris was an African woman named Lala Kanza bin Uqba al-Arabi, and she bore him a son named Idris II, who became the leader by 803 AD. Idris II founded as the capital for his kingdom the town of Fez, located in modern-day Morocco, which henceforth became a political and religious center. Within Islam, there were at the time two main traditions, namely Sunni Islam and Shia Islam. Idris II was a Shia Muslim, like his father, and organized the first central government. The Idrisid dynasty was successful in establishing the University of Al-Qarawiyyin, also written as Al-Qarawiyyin, at their capital in Fez, which became an important center of Muslim learning. The city of Fez attracted scholars from throughout the Muslim world and beyond, including some Christians and Jews. The Idrisid dynasty firmly established Islam across the region and amongst the other local African populations. The Idrisid dynasty was able to extend their land into the Atlas Mountains and became one of the largest powers in Morocco at the time. The Idrisid dynasty is considered to be the first Moroccan Islamic state and remained a powerful entity until 974 AD. The Almaravids and the Almohads. Now, the formation of the Almaravid movement and dynasty can be traced back to an African Berber leader named Yahya ibn Ibrahim, who traveled on a pilgrimage to Mecca in Arabia in accordance with Islamic teaching in 1036 AD. The three major tribes in northern Africa at this time were the Masmuda, Zenata, and Sanhaja. Armed with a new enthusiasm for Islam, Yahya ibn Ibrahim then traveled to Morocco and met with another Islamic African Berber scholar named Abdullah ibn Yassin. Together, they helped to unify the major tribes of northwestern Africa and encouraged the population to strictly follow the tenets of Islam. Abdullah ibn Yassin soon established himself as the spiritual leader of the new nation, and Yahya ibn Ibrahim took control of the newly formed military. By 1040 AD, the Almaravid Dynasty had been established and the unification of the tribes was completed, and by 1052 AD, the Almaravid military force had grown to 30,000 men. In 1055 AD, the Almoravids secured control of the North African city of Sijil Massa, near to the Atlas Mountains, and established Islamic law throughout the city, prohibiting the sale of alcohol and removing non-Islamic taxes. The Almoravids invaded the North African city of Agmat in Morocco in 1058 AD and took control of it. One of the wealthiest African women of the city, named Zainab an-Nafsariyat, later married one of the Almoravid leaders named Yusuf ibn Tashfin. Now, by 1082 AD, the Christians of Spain had begun to launch numerous attacks against the African Muslims living inside of Spain, and many of them began to flee back into Africa. Upon request, the Almoravids decided to intervene and raised an army in Africa and led an attack against Spain. The Spanish were led by King Castilian Alfonso VI, and the two forces faced each other at the Battle of Zalaca in 1086 AD. The Battle of Zalaca took place in a region called Badajoz, which was in southwestern Spain. The Spanish military was completely defeated, and half of its army was killed by the Almoravids. The Almoravids were strict adherents to the laws of Islam and were keen to propagate what they viewed as the purest version of Islam. The Almoravid leader Yusuf ibn Tashfin left Africa and travelled back into Spain to initiate this activity under the title The Spreading of Righteousness, the Correction of Injustice, and the Abolition of Unlawful Taxes. The Almoravids conquered the entire region of southern Spain, taking the cities of Seville, Cordoba, and Zaragoza. Yusuf ibn Tashfin died at the age of 100 years old and was succeeded by his son Ali ibn Yusuf, who took over as the leader of the Almoravids in 1106 AD. The Almoravids then conquered the Spanish city of Valencia in 1109 AD, and the Almoravids continued to expand in influence, wealth, and power. Soon, however, a new African dynasty would rise to power in the region, and their name was the Almohads. The Almahad Dynasty was an Islamic African empire which was established in 1121 AD in northern Africa. The name Almahad translates into English as the monotheists, or the followers of the doctrine of divine unity. The Almohads were African Berbers from southern Morocco, and they took over as the ruling dynasty in the region from the previous Almaravid Dynasty, as the Almoravids started to decline in influence. The Almahad Dynasty was started by Muhammad ibn Tumat, who was the son of an African Berber chief from the Atlas Mountains, which extended from northern Algeria into southern Algeria. Muhammad ibn Tumat was from a prestigious family of the Masmuda tribe in southern Morocco. The military force of the Almohads consisted of a mixture of both North African Berbers and West Africans who were known for their skill as archers. By 1130 AD, the Almohads expanded out of the Atlas Mountains and moved into Almoravid territory, directly engaging in war with the Almoravids. In 1133 AD, the Berber leader named Abd al-Mumin took control of the movement after the former leader Muhammad ibn Tumat died. The Almohads attacked Oran in Algeria and later Marrakesh in Morocco, eventually taking control of the city. By 1146 AD, the Almohads had expanded across northern Africa, inclusive of the region of modern-day Tunisia and Libya, and into Spain in Europe. In 1150 AD, Abd al-Mumin became the ruler of Spain. The historian Lady Lugard stated in her writing, "Thus, for a second time, a purely African dynasty reigned upon the most civilized throne of Europe." Yaqub al-Mansur was an African leader who took control of the dynasty in 1184 AD and began a series of public work programs which included the construction of mosques, hospitals, and schools across the dynasty. His reign was distinguished by the flourishing of trade, architecture, philosophy, and the sciences. Yaqub al-Mansur also founded the city of Rabat in Morocco and established the city as his capital. The Almahad dynasty established a series of reforms as they were more puritanical in their notions of Islam to a far greater degree than the Almoravids. The Almohads were enthusiastic builders and developers of art and literature, some of which has lasted to the present day. In Marrakesh, the Jami al-Qutbiyin, the Mosque of the Booksellers, was a mosque constructed to a height of 67 meters, complete with 5 domes. The art of the Almohads was infused with color and also geometric design. Some of the more outstanding poets which the Almahad dynasty produced included Ibn Kafaja and Ibn Kuzman. Ibn Khaldun was also known as the gardener because of the freshness and romantic nature of his poems, which often describe the beauty of the natural environment. In addition, the Almohads produced much literature in the area of medicine, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and science. The Almohads continued to prosper into 1269 AD. The Marinid Sultanate. Following the decline of the Almohads, the Marinid Sultanate established themselves in 1244 AD in northern Africa. The Marinids were African Berbers and were a faction of the Berber tribal confederation called the Zenata. An African Berber named Abu Muhammad Abd al-Haq I became the first leader. The Marinid Sultanate were located in the region of modern-day Morocco and eventually controlled sections of modern-day Algeria and Tunisia. They established Sunni Islam as their national religion, just as their predecessors, the Almohads and Almoravids, and by 1248 AD had control of the North African cities of Taza, Rabat, Saleh, Meknes, and Fez, with the city of Fez becoming their capital. The Marinids were prolific builders of madrasas, which were a type of educational institution. One of their most important functions was to provide housing for students from other towns and cities, many of them poor, who needed a place to stay while studying at these major African centers of learning. These establishments served to train Islamic scholars, particularly in Islamic law and jurisprudence. The Marinid Sultanate went on to develop the Sarafin Madrasa in 1271 AD in the city of Fez, and the Sarij Madrasa in 1321 AD, and the Mezbahiyya Madrasa in 1346 AD, both also in Fez. The Marinid Sultanate were also the first to deploy extensive use of geometric patterns within their architectural design, which became standard in Moroccan architecture afterwards. Typically, the walls of wealthy homes and theological schools were often ornamented with tile and stucco and with intricately carved wood panels. At the height of their power, the Marinid army was large, multicultural, and disciplined. It consisted of 40,000 cavalry. While some Arabs contributed to the cavalry, Muslims from Spain were included as archers. The personal bodyguard of the leadership consisted of 7,000 men and included Christian, Kurdish, and West African warriors. The Marinid Sultanate continued to prosper in the region until 1465 AD.